checking my audio. Audio seems fine, hopefully. Testing. Okay, should be fine. Good morning, everybody. It is the 23rd of September. This is AI with Kyle, talking about the latest AI news and updates of the day. And we have quite a few big pieces of news that have just come out. We have the further intertwining of OpenAI and NVIDIA with $100 billion investment. We have the launch of some higher end computer intense offerings from ChatGPT, from OpenAI. Then I want to talk about romance and AI love, because it's a big topic and there's a couple of good articles that have just come out about it. And then maybe we'll finish up by talking about the new phase or the new wave of AI training, which is simulating worlds and simulating actual work. We'll see how much time we have for that. So I'm also going to be taking questions from the audience as always, and all of this goes onto YouTube and will be available tomorrow on YouTube. It's cut up into different segments as always. But first up, let's start with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA are investing $100 billion into OpenAI. Just a few days ago, we also found out they're investing $5 billion into Intel, the chip maker, CPU primarily. So NVIDIA is on an investment spree at the moment. Not that surprising. They're making a lot of money. They are the largest company on earth at the moment. So investing $100 billion into OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, bringing the two AI firms together. Interestingly, OpenAI have just cut a very similar deal with Oracle as well. So there's a lot of these two-part deals going on, where, here we go, the deal will involve two transactions. OpenAI will pay NVIDIA for chips, and the chip maker will invest in OpenAI. So we're seeing a lot of these deals going on at the moment, which, well, like the Oracle one that we had last week, money was agreed to be paid to Oracle, a lot of money, for chips and services that Oracle don't currently have, but that money is to build up that capacity and then sell the services back to ChatGPT. So it's all very intertwined and incestuous. They're kind of making money from nowhere, which has led to people point out that this could be the sign of a bubble, and now NVIDIA are getting in on it as well. But let's have a look at the details before we jump to any conclusions on this. Good morning, Hemotophagian. NVIDIA, the chip-making company, will invest $100 billion into OpenAI and provide it with data chip centers, the company said on Monday, a tie-up between the two of the highest-profile leaders in the global artificial intelligence race. So the deal, which will see NVIDIA start delivering chips as soon as late 2026, so a year from now, will involve two separate but intertwined transactions. This is what we're seeing more and more of, according to a person close to OpenAI. The startup will pay NVIDIA in cash for chips. This is cash that OpenAI don't necessarily have, so they're going to need to raise it in order to pay for this. And NVIDIA will invest in OpenAI for non-controlling shares. So technically, OpenAI could use the cash that NVIDIA are giving them, the investment, and then loop it back to NVIDIA for chips. Which means both of the companies grow, but it also means their fates are very much entwined. And if one of them cannot fulfill their part of the deal, then the whole thing kind of comes crashing down like a house of cards. So the first $10 billion of NVIDIA's investment in OpenAI, which was most recently valued at $500 billion, so $500 billion. Remember, this is a company that really only released their big flagship project a couple of years ago. OpenAI have been around for longer than ChatGPT, but it wasn't until that release that they really kind of popped off. So $500 billion valuation in a couple of years is phenomenal. So we'll begin when the two companies reach a definitive agreement for OpenAI to purchase NVIDIA chips. NVIDIA previously funded OpenAI with $6.6 billion investment, and the ChatGPT maker has pledged 49% of its profits to Microsoft after a $13 billion investment made in 2023. That's not quite right. The Guardian hasn't got it quite right there. So it's 49% of its profits up to a certain cap. So it's a capped profit model. So it's not quite the case. And then, yeah, OpenAI is in the midst of a long and much litigated process to convert to a for-profit entity. We're not going to get into that. We've covered that before, and it is illegal and ethical, and it's just a nightmare, the structure of what is happening there at the moment. So I think we're going to see a lot more deals like this. As I mentioned, OpenAI cut a deal like this with Oracle recently, which pushed Oracle share prices so much that it briefly made Larry Ellison the richest man on earth. I don't think he is anymore. I might be wrong, but it jumped his net worth, I think, by $113 billion in one day, which is a hell of a day. It was last Wednesday. He was worth an extra 100 billion. But that again was a deal where they were intertwined. So it was money being invested, but that money was then going to be sent back to the person who invested in order to buy services. So the money is going in a circle. It's quite incestuous. What really worries me about this is not necessarily the fact that it's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's fine. It's like financial alchemy. That's whatever. What is more worrying is that OpenAI are at the kind of center of all of these transactions, whether it's with Oracle, whether it's with Microsoft, whether it's with Nvidia. Everything is being placed on OpenAI. So the industry as a whole is kind of betting on one company. Now, it doesn't matter who that company is, and I think out of all the companies, OpenAI is probably the best bet. But the fact that you have a whole industry and, well, the future of the financial markets of the whole planet based on one company, and one company run pretty much by one guy who's calling the shots, that's a risk. That is a big risk structurally, whichever way you cut it. Whatever you think about OpenAI, whether you're pro or con, whatever you think about Sam Altman, whether you're pro or con, putting all of this investment through one company and one point of failure is a problem, a real problem. So I'd love to see a bit more of this cash being split up. So it'd be great if Nvidia were also putting some money into Anthropic, for example. They might be. I haven't heard of a deal like that, and certainly not $100 billion. But right now we are exposing ourselves to more fragility in the market by having the big players combined so much, especially around OpenAI, because if OpenAI messes up, goes bankrupt, something awful happens, then we're going to be in a very, very precarious position moving forward. Good morning, everybody. How confident are you that you'll be able to do it? What's this in? Oh, here we go. Programmer keep telling me it's not possible to vibe code a SaaS. So I think the big problem right now is marketing and distribution. So what I have, and you're asking about my personal confidence, what I have that most coders do not is an audience of 250,000 people. So that's what gives me more confidence, because I know whatever I launch, I can get it to market. So I've done a few launches this year. Each of the launches has been six figures, so 100,000 plus. I know that I can at least get whatever I built out to market and get it into the hands of paying customers, and then go from there. Whether or not it becomes a profitable SaaS, that's kind of the next step. All I'm focusing on right now is building something in public, taking it to market, and seeing if we can make some sales, and then off the back of that, listening to what the customers want, and then refining from there. I also know people who are making money with vibe-coded SaaSes already, quite a few of them. I met a whole bunch of them over in Sweden recently, at least 10 of them, and they were all making money. I think about 5 of them had made like life-changing money. So it's entirely possible. And of course you can, once you have proven market demand, you can take what you've vibe coded, and if you need to, depending on the scalability, depending on the requirements, you can get it remade by proper coders. But the difficulty is finding that market demand in the first place. So that's what I think vibe coding is really useful for, is for entrepreneurs to be able to build something and get it out to market. So that's the plan. And I'm not trying to build a enterprise level SaaS using Lovable. I don't think that's quite possible yet. Although there was that, what's it called? There was a lovable coded SaaS which was called Next. Let's find it. Next. I've forgotten its name. No, this is just talking about Lovable. There was a medtech SaaS, and it was some kind of platform for nurses, and they hit 5 million within, I think, about 6 months. I'm not able to find it. I'll look for it later and bring it up again. So it's definitely possible. It's more about the business than the technology, honestly, and that's the hard part, is coming up with what is the business, what is the market. What did you launch? I've had a few launches this year. The 6-figure launches were mainly my AI workshop kit. So we've done 5 cohorts of that, and most of them, 3, 4 of them were 6 figures. So we're happy with that. Okay, going to hop over to Sam Altman. So Grok 4 Fast just released, and it's pretty good. It's a decent model, and more importantly, it's extremely cheap. 15 times cheaper than the previous Grok 4 model, and about 5 times cheaper than most of the other alternatives out there. So cheaper than Gemini Flash, let me get these right, Gemini Flash, and GPT-5 Mini. So the lower cost, fast, non-reasoning models. And Grok 4 Fast came along and basically kicked the bottom of the market out by providing something that is pretty good and extremely cheap. So I imagine Google and OpenAI and everyone, they're rushing to work out how they're going to reprice, if they're going to reprice their lower level models. So interestingly, in that context, Sam Altman has come forth and he said, over the next few weeks, we're launching some new compute intensive offerings. So going to the top end of the market rather than worrying about the lower end of the market. Because of the associated costs, some features will initially only be available for Pro subscribers. So these are higher level models which are only going to be in the highest package of ChatGPT, and some new products will have additional fees. So that sounds like even if you are a Pro subscriber, there are going to be other additions which you might need to pay even more for. So Pro subscription now is, I think, $200 a month. There may be an additional level, or there'll be additional fees on top of that for usage, for example. Our intention remains to drive the cost of intelligence down as aggressively as we can and make our services widely available, and we are confident that we will get there over time. just not yet. But we also want to learn what's possible when we throw a lot of compute at today's model costs at interesting new ideas. So this feels to me a little bit like a response to Grok 4 Fast coming in and instantly becoming the lowest cost model. So the second paragraph here, our intention remains to drive the cost of intelligence down as aggressively as we can. Grok just did that so aggressively. I don't know how XAI are going to make money on it, but that might not be their game plan. They might just want to get adoption, take a hit on Grok 4 Fast, and then once people start to build with it and realize, oh, it's quite good, they're going to retain that market share. So instead of competing, instead of lowering their prices, OpenAI have said, actually, that's not what we're doing right now. So our intention remains to drive the cost of intelligence down as aggressively as we can and make our services widely available. And we are confident that we'll get there over time. So they're basically saying, cool, that's what they're doing. That's not what we are doing right now. Instead, we're going in the opposite direction, and we're going to the top end, and we're going to charge more for our higher end services. So it's an interesting response. I think not a bad response, because competing over price and allowing your models to become a commodity is a really risky business, because people will just spiral down until the price equals the cost, so they won't make any profit. So a commodity market is an incredibly unattractive place to be. So instead, Sam Altman is going for the luxury market. He's going for the upper end of the market, which I think strategically is a completely fair response to Grok 4. So it'd be interesting to find out what these are. Presumably these are higher end reasoning models. I don't know. but that would be my guess. So even deeper reasoning and thinking. And it'd be interesting to see how much more that is going to cost. Also, the fact that it's a new compute intensive offerings is interesting in the context of the Nvidia deal, which came out the same day. When did he tweeted this yesterday, and we heard about the Nvidia deal today. No, sorry, he tweeted on Sunday about we need more compute, and then the next day the deal between OpenAI and Nvidia was announced. So the timing is not coincidental, I'm sure. We need more compute. Oh, by the way, we have $100 million deal and an agreement with Nvidia for that compute. Sahil says, is this another news stream? Didn't you already do one earlier today? No, I didn't. I don't think anyone's faking my news streams. If they are, congrats. I'd love to know how you do it. I actually had somebody join my stream the other day, which was a fake version of me. So on TikTok, I have maybe 30 fake accounts. If you search I am Kyle Balmer, they all show up, and they're always trying to sell people crypto, which I don't try and do. But one of them actually joined the live stream, which was utterly bizarre. It's like, I don't know what your end game was there. But no, I haven't done a live stream. So Sahil, if you saw one earlier, if you saw one on YouTube, it was probably one of my older streams was being shown to you. Oh, that's an interesting question. Sorry. Have a question. Do you have anything you need to build for the community? Me personally? So I'm currently building myself. So I have a live stream that I do where I'm building them in public. But at the moment, I'm building something that is more of a product. I'm actually doing a hackathon on Friday as well. So even more building. I think I'm going to live stream the whole thing. It's a 4 or 5 day hackathon though. So building for the community, not that I can think of at the moment, but if you had some ideas, is there something that you want to help build? Because if I'm fully open to those kind of arrangements, because I mean, put it very crudely, I have an audience, and I don't have much time. So I cannot spend all of my time building stuff. But if people want to collaborate and they want to build, we can work out some kind of deal where we can then market to my audience, obviously, if it's a fit and if it's going to be useful for them. But and then we build together and I market it and launch it. So I can do something for you, the community, if you want, so they don't go to waste for me. Yeah, pitch me, basically. If you have an idea that would be good, just send me a DM or don't send me an email. I don't really read emails, but send me a DM and pitch me on it and we can work something out. Sahil, today an AI posted 3 hours ago. Yeah, that will be yesterday's stream tidied up. So kind of an edited version. Whereas this, what you're watching right now, is Tuesday's live stream. So the one you probably saw a couple of hours ago is Monday's tidied up edited version. What time do your streams usually start? Normally 10 a.m, but I'm a bit flexible. Like last night I was out, went to a lovely vegan restaurant up in Soho, but it meant I got home quite late, so I'm starting a stream a bit later, but normally 10 a.m. Awesome. So I want to talk about, it's not really news, but well, yeah, it's not really news, but it is an undercurrent that's important. So there's a few pieces, articles that I want to kind of pull together about romance with AI. So Psychology Today, this is actually a few months old, but I've just seen it. So they've done a survey, and 1 in 4, so 25% of young adults are using AI to fill sexual and romantic interests. That's a lot. 25% is a lot. I mean, we need to check out here we go. Recent report from Willoughby, Caldovan, Hakala from the Wheatley Institute explored the use of AI for romance and sex in... Oh, excuse me. I've lost the camera because I didn't plug it in. Give me a second. There we go. Sorry, YouTube. Epic says, cool, let me think some drying ideas also. Yeah. All right, cool. Sorry, editor. I forgot to put on my my fan. So here we go. A recent report by Willoughby, Caldover and Hakala from the Wheatley Institute explored the use of AI for romance and sex in 2969 young adults, nice, aged 18 to 30. Okay, so this is always an interesting thing because we think people under 18 are using AI a lot more for companionship and romance and presumably sexual stuff, but that is not investigated because they're under 18. So character AI, for example, is the third highest or highest trafficked consumer level artificial intelligence on Earth. It goes OpenAI, so ChatGPT, DeepSeek, then character AI, and character AI is companionship. It's not safe for work. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I don't think it's not pornographic, but it is for companionship, and most of their user base is much younger. So all these studies are being done on adults, but I think what we really need to be looking at are younger people. But that is tricky because investigating that in younger people opens up complexities, obviously. So they romance and sex in 2,969 young adults aged 18 to 30 and older adults over 30. They found some surprising results and connections to feelings of depression and loneliness. So a quarter of young men actively followed and regularly viewed such images. Oh, this is sexualized ones. Okay, I'm not going to read all of those details because I'm not sure if I can on YouTube. But the big headline is that 25% of them are using AI. And this is to fulfill romantic and sexual needs. 25% in, again, 2 years or so, 2.5 years since we've had these technologies widely available, is an immense level of adoption. Absolutely huge. It's probably even faster than the adoption rate of ChatGPT. Is the adoption rate of these kind of this kind of use. So I think it's something that really needs to be looked into a lot more. But there were a few things that I wanted to talk about which were connected. So this is the news today, is Facebook are introducing an AI dating assistant directly into Facebook. So this is the big news. Meta announced on Monday that it's bringing an AI assistant to Facebook dating. So Facebook dating presumably is like a dating module within Facebook. I haven't used it personally. Is it like Tinder? I'm sure somebody will know. This chatbot is intended to help users find matches who are more closely tailored to what they're looking for. So for example, Meta might suggest a user asks it to find a Brooklyn girl in tech, or a user could ask the AI to help refine their profile. Meta also says that it's helping people avoid swipe fatigue with a new feature called Meet Cute, which gives users a weekly surprise match based on its algorithms. So this is interesting because we're already using algorithms in dating applications. That's been the norm for a long time. So we use machine learning, which is fundamental to artificial intelligence. So I don't know why this is particularly different. I don't know if this is generative AI, but let's read through. The company says Facebook dating matches among adults aged 18 to 29 have increased 10% year-over-year growth, with hundreds of thousands of users in the age group creating Facebook dating profiles each month. Okay, that's not that many, hundreds of thousands a month, because that gives them a couple of million new users a year. That's, oh, here we go. That's small compared to competitors like Tinder, which has 50 million daily active users. Woo! And Hinge's 10 million daily active users. So it sounds like Facebook is a lot more niche. AI features have already become the norm in mainstream dating apps. Yep. Even newer dating apps like Sitch have attempted to differentiate themselves with their AI features. Match Group, the owners of Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, and others, I did not know they were all owned by the same person, fascinating, entered a partnership with OpenAI last year, which is part of the dating giant's $20 million plus investment in AI. 20 million is not that much to invest, considering they own Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, and probably, well, presumably Match. It's a big bet, especially given the financial struggles of Match Group, which has lost 68% of its stock price in the last 5 years. Oh, that's fascinating. I don't know much about this market, but I'm kind of interested to know why that happened. Would that be COVID? Or are people just fatigued of dating apps? So far, the investment has produced features like an AI photo selector tool to Tinder, which scans your camera roll to help choose profile images, as well as AI-powered matching. Hinge is a feature that lets users improve their responses to profile prompts with AI. They're very mundane uses. These are things you could build for a lot less than $20 million, but okay, that's fine. I guess they use a lot of credits. And Bumble has added similar AI features, and founder Whitney Wolfe Herd even ruffled some feathers last week when she suggested that one day users could have personal AI concierges that go on dates with other people's AIs to determine compatibility. I remember that. That was, a year or so ago. So we could send our AI assistants out on dates with other people's AI assistants, especially if they were like AI digital clones of ourselves, to see how they hit it off, which is kind of a cool idea as a way to filter. One problem with that, I imagine, is that AIs are too agreeable right now, so they would naturally get on with each other, because it's very, AIs often agree. So if you put two AIs together, they'll just match and work things out together much better than we can on our dates. So yeah, they're adding an AI assistant into Facebook dating. It sounds like that's not particularly new compared to the other dating companies out there. What do we call them? The dating apps. I haven't used them for years, and I have friends who are dating, and it honestly, it sounds like a lot of work nowadays. A lot of work. But using AI makes a lot of sense, because what AI is really good at is pattern matching. So if you have a profile and someone else has a profile and you're looking for certain things and you are not looking for certain other things, that's pattern matching. So being able to hook up profiles, being able to connect job applicants to jobs, these are uses of artificial intelligence that are quite useful. So I'm not surprised it is being used in dating. Of course, I'm sure some people will criticize this as getting us further and further away from just talking to people, but I think this is just how modern life is. People are busy, and this is convenient, and certainly more efficient than the swiping process, which takes up a huge amount of time, and that is basically a manual sorting algorithm. So if AI can take some of the stress out of that by curating and acting more as a matchmaker, then this seems like a positive thing. Of course, the idea and the implementation will be different, so it could be terrible. And all of these, especially Meta and Facebook, these platforms will be optimizing for time on their platform. So not necessarily for getting you the love of your life so you leave the platform, because then they lose money, but they want you on the platform. They want you actively using it. So we always need to keep that in mind, what their objective is as well. Okay, I've got one more kind of romance, love related article. This is from Futurism. It's well worth checking this article out in full, because it's quite a nice one. It's about ChatGPT is blowing up marriages as spouses use AI to attack their partners. So this is a bit more of this isn't a study or anything, but I thought it was interesting. People are using ChatGPT to formulate arguments against each other. So one of our son heard us arguing, the husband told Futurism. He's 10 and he sent us a message from his phone saying, please don't get a divorce. What his wife did next, the man told us, unsettled him. That sounds like it was written by ChatGPT. She took his message and asked ChatGPT to respond, he recounted. This was her immediate reaction to her 10-year-old being concerned about us in the moment. The couple is now divorcing. Like most marriages, the husband conceded theirs was imperfect, but they'd been able to overcome their difficulties in the past, and as of a few months ago, he felt they were in a good, stable place. We've been together for just under 15 years total, 2 kids, he explained. We've had ups and downs like any relationship, and in 2023 we almost split. We ended up reconciling, and we had, I thought, 2 very good years, very close years. And then, he sighed, the whole ChatGPT thing happened. The whole ChatGPT thing happened could be a good summary for the 2020s, I think. Over the past summer, arguments that worked together to resolve years ago became suddenly and ferociously roaring back. What he eventually realized was that his wife had started to use OpenAI's chatbot to analyze him and their marriage, holding long drawn-out conversations over text and the chatbot's phone-like voice mode feature. What was happening, unbeknownst to me at the time, a fancy word, was she was dredging up all of these things that we'd previously worked on and putting it into ChatGPT. As his wife leaned on the tech as a confidant meets journal meets therapist, he says, it started to serve as a sycophantic feedback loop that depicted him only as the villain. Now, I wonder if this was GPT 4.0, because this was one of the big problems with 4.0, was that it agreed with absolutely everything, and people created very tight bonds with 4.0, which they have not created with 5, because 5's are much colder. I could see ChatGPT responses compounding, he said, and then my wife responding to the things ChatGPT was saying back, and further and further and further spinning. It's not giving objective analysis, he added, it's only giving back what she's putting in. Yep. The marriage eroded swiftly over the span of about 4 weeks, and the husband blamed ChatGPT. My family is being ripped apart, the man said, and I firmly believe this phenomenon is central to why. So this article goes on and gives some other stories. It talks about the use of ChatGPT. This is very similar to the use of ChatGPT for therapy, so giving people someone to talk to. But the problem with AIs is they are not objective. They don't have an objective truth. They're not necessarily preloaded with the kind of rules of engagement that a therapist will abide by, and they will take sides, especially 4.0. So 4.0, GPT 4.0 was very sycophantic, and it would agree. It would always agree with you. That is a big problem if you have already made a decision, like most of us do. We've made an emotional decision, and we're just looking for reasoned, we're looking for reasoning to back it up. This is how most of us make our decisions anyway. We make a decision emotionally, and then we look for evidence, and we build arguments, rational arguments, around that emotional decision. ChatGPT is very good at helping you do that. If you've, as in this case, if you've already decided you want to divorce your husband, and then you talk to ChatGPT, it's going to back up that decision. It's not going to push back, because that is not how it is designed. It does not have an objective frame of reference, and it does not have guidelines in place about how it should be discussing your divorce or your pending divorce of it. So of course it's just going to mirror back exactly what you give it. There are ways to prompt it so you can make it more objective, or at least you can make it so it doesn't always agree all of the time. Very unlikely that this wife in this particular case was doing that, because I imagine she'd already kind of decided and was using this as a way to action a less conscious decision, which is, I want to get divorced, using ChatGPT to basically reinforce that. And this is the root of larger problems like AI psychosis, which is something that is popping up a lot more, is that when somebody has, delusions, in the case of AI psychosis, an AI will quite happily back them up and allow somebody to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that spiral. So there are exciting uses of AI for therapy, but if you just use ChatGPT out of the box without any additional guidelines placed into it about how it should interact with you, it is just going to back up what you say, and is going to help you it's going to help you rationalize an emotional decision. Anyway, so there's a couple of articles. I think this question of love, romance, AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends is going to be a constant undertone. It's going to be something that we're going to constantly talk about. I mean, eventually we're going to get the robots as well, and it's going to become increasingly challenging, but it's an important thing to discuss because it is happening under the surface. We generally look at the big headlines like Nvidia investing money, into OpenAI, as we just looked at, $100 billion. But this investment and this kind of high-level technical play, it's filtering down to human behavior and human relationships and human marriages collapsing. There are impacts all the way down because this technology is so important. And we've moved beyond the point where a couple of years ago people were saying, oh, well, this whole AI thing is just a fad, it's just a phase. We've moved beyond that. And I think people are starting to realize that, oh no, this is a technology that is here to stay, and it is important, and it's going to have societal impacts. So we've gone from the, oh, it's rubbish and it's not going to have any impact on anything, to the, okay, now what do we do? And we need to start addressing those questions. We cannot bury our head in the sand anymore. Alexandra, hey Kyle, how are you doing? I'm very good. How are you doing? Hey Nat, that's what an AI would have said. Still not an AI. I would pay attention to sounds such as the nervous mouse scrolling sound, clicks in the fan. Oh, yeah, so if you're on TikTok, you're not getting the best audio. So if you're on YouTube, you get the audio through the Shure M7B, whatever it is, microphone. So with the clean audio and the clean image is over on YouTube. Unfortunately, with TikTok, you're on a telephone, so it's a little bit different. I've got a lavalier mic for TikTok, but it's still a lower production quality than YouTube. So if you want to get the full version, make sure you check it out on YouTube. Cool. I'm going to finish up this stream. I'm not going to do my live building in public stream yet. I'm going to start doing it in the afternoon. So I'm splitting up the two streams. I should be back around 4 p.m. London time to do the build in public stream. Cool. If you want to find what we've covered on today's live, plus all of the other lives, it's all available on YouTube. It's all in playlists, and everything is cut up into its individual sections, so you can find information on what it is you need to see. And you can also get everything inside of the newsletter, which is free. The newsletter gives you a written summary as well as the time codes to the specific parts of the video, so it makes it a lot easier to access the information. Certainly much easier than watching it live, although I do love having you guys here and being able to answer questions. But the newsletter is going to be the most efficient way. So there is a link in the bio which goes to that. And make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Let's do a check on YouTube subscriber count, because it's starting to grow. We're at 5,381. So we've added 2,000 subscribers in the last month. It is starting to grow and grow and grow. So thank you again for all the people who are subscribing on YouTube. It's been an absolute grind, but we are moving in the right direction. So thank you. Hopefully we'll be at 10,000 in, well, within a couple of weeks, a month or so, which makes it start to feel a lot more real. Awesome. Thank you guys. I'm going to finish up this stream, and I will see you later for the other stream around 4 p.m. I need to work out what this new schedule is, but otherwise you can find everything on YouTube. Thank you.